our political discourse, both the kind that we see on TV and the kind that we experience among each other, it did not used to be this bad, and it does not have to be this way. This has always been a tough business, and when passions flare, ugliness is sometimes inevitable, but we shouldn't accept ugliness as the norm.
Speaker Paul Ryan earlier today talking about political discourse that he characterizes as getting uglier. Now later, I've got the reasons I believe Paul made that speech, but it is worth noting. The latest CBS News New York Times poll shows that Republican voters are fed up with the way the candidates are conducting this campaign. 60% of GOP voters embarrassed by the way in which the candidates are campaigning. That compared to 13% of Democratic voters. So what does this all mean? Well, let's bring in our political panel to discuss this issue and some others. From Newsmax Washington, the chairman of Cousin O'Connor Public Strategies, Mark Alderman, on the Democrat side of things. And for the Republicans, Skyping in from Florida, former advisor to Governor Jeb Bush, Justin Sayfie. In fact, Justin is in Fort Lauderdale tonight. Now, with the nature of this whole process being turned upside down, is it the fact that things have gotten so different, Justin, this campaign is less than traditional? Do you really think voters are getting turned off? Because there were a record turnout in the state I used to represent yesterday, Arizona. So people may be frustrated, but they're still showing up to vote.
Well, I think there are a lot of voters that are maybe frustrated with the tone of the campaign, as that one poll showed on the Republican side. But at the same time, they are upset about the direction they see the country going in. They're fearful about it. So they are turning out in record numbers, not only in your home state, but also in states all across the country. Here in Florida, we had a very significant increase in turnout too. So I think the voters are kind of speaking with almost two voices. On one hand, they don't like the discourse in the Republican Party anyway. And on the other hand, they're concerned about the future of the country, so they're getting out to vote.
And the video right there, the long lines from the Phoenix area yesterday for the Arizona primary. So, Mark, really, I'm not trying to take a pot shot, but I look at the lower numbers of Democrats being upset. Is it just that Democrats are used to rough and tumble campaigns?
I think that Democrats are embarrassed by the Republican side, Congressman. This is a world in which yesterday ISIS slaughtered innocent souls in Brussels, and we have Donald Trump and Ted Cruz talking about each other's wives. We should be talking about Donald Trump talking to himself about foreign policy and talking about what is serious in a very serious and dangerous world, Congressman.
Well, understandable. That is certainly true that there were horrible terror attacks in Brussels yesterday, and the political attacks do continue. The Donald reportedly upset, and I would say understandably so, over an anti-Trump super PAC ad that ran in Utah featuring his wife Melania's nude British GQ pictures with the message, "Do you want this woman as First Lady?" Now, apparently, Donald turned around and threatened to, quote, spill the beans on Ted Cruz's wife, Heidi, on Twitter if the attacks go further. Justin, we all know politics ain't beanbag, but has this gotten so out of hand it's going to be difficult to rein it in?
Well, personally, JD, I just think that's all ridiculous. Sign me up as one of those Republican voters that really I don't think that those issues are ones that really matter to most voters. They certainly don't matter to me. I'm concerned about what's going on around the world. I'm concerned about global jihadists. I'm concerned about low growth rates. I'm concerned about underemployment in the United States. I'm concerned about our education system, our environment, and a number of other issues. I hope the candidates can get back and focus on some of those. And to be fair to Ted Cruz and to Donald Trump, they did talk about the terrorist attacks yesterday as well. This was not the only thing that they were talking about. However, I hope that the issues that are important to voters are the ones they focus on.
And Mark, we heard your criticism of this, but the fact is there is some tangible criticism of Hillary Clinton that doesn't have to do with faults and foibles via the Twittersphere, but does have to do with emails. That all albatross could still be hung around Mrs. Clinton's neck. Do you worry about that? We've got about 45 seconds.
JD, Hillary Clinton is not going to be indicted over those emails. I've talked to people who know the evidence, who know the case, who know the law, who know the process. They tell me there is no there there. But sure, you'd be a fool not to worry about what would happen were she to be indicted. That would be a big problem. It's not happening, Congressman.
All right. Well, Justin, I saw you shaking your head. 10 seconds to respond.
I just don't know how anybody who doesn't really have the facts of this case can say that she's not going to be indicted. I think let the law enforcement agencies look at the facts and let them come to a conclusion. Let's not prejudge anything.
Fair enough. Gentlemen, we don't prejudge anything. We do appreciate your lively and passionate discussion. Mark Alderman in Newsmax, Washington, and Justin Sayfie from Fort Lauderdale. Using guns, immigration, and entitlement programs like Obamacare, President Obama is tipping our delicate bipartisan political balance heavily in favor of the Democrats. And this is precisely what Dick Morris predicted in his #1 bestseller, Power Grab, Obama's plan for a one-party nation. Dick Morris says Obama has a much bigger plan to make us a one-party nation. Power Grab explains what Obama has really been up to. As we approach the 2016 election, be sure to get your copy of this bestseller by Dick Morris, Power Grab. It's available at bookstores everywhere. Call our toll-free number 800-953-1812 or go online at powergrab411.com today to get your copy of Power Grab with this special offer.